Hey, it's Elizabeth, Countess of Low Carb, and on this episode, we're going to talk about intermittent fasting mistakes and intermittent fasting weight loss. Coming up next. Hey guys, it's Elizabeth, Countess of Low Carb, and on this episode, we're going to talk about my intermittent fasting mistakes, part 2, and my intermittent fasting weight loss. Hi guys, I'm Elizabeth, Countess of Low Carb. I've lost 67 pounds through keto, through intermittent fasting. And on today's episode, I'm doing a part 2 to my part 1, which I'll put in the description link below, on my intermittent fasting mistakes. Yes, I've made tons of mistakes, tons of them, but I've still had intermittent fasting weight loss success. Here is my Countess of Low Carb t-shirt if you want to make mistakes too and be super cute in them. But let's dive into the content first. Before I get to that, make sure you give this video a big old thumbs up. Put down below mistakes if you are totally feeling this video and want me to do more videos just like this one. And make sure you click subscribe. Okay, so tip number one, and this is again part 2, so I've already done a bunch of tips, but I've had more. Like I'm mistake prone, but I'm still rocking and rolling and losing the weight. So my first tip on my mistake that I've done is not incorporating more pinches of sea salt or pinches of pink Himalayan salt under my tongue. I literally just use like a granular or 2 of sea salt. I use MALDON sea salt. I'll put that in the description link below. They have awesome tins, so you can carry them in your pocketbook. On Amazon, they sell them in packs of 3. Super, super easy. So I have like one in my kitchen, one in my car, one in my pocketbook. Like I have tins everywhere. I used to use baggies with my pink Himalayan salt, but I looked kind of like a drug dealer, so I've switched over to the tins. I do like just using a flake of them. They're little itty bitty flakes, and it really helps with electrolytes, helps ride out the cravings, helps ride out if I feel like stopping. I will have one of those. I'll pop a salt flake in my mouth, and that will help me keep continuing along the journey. Animals walk miles to get to salt licks because we need salt. So that is one of my tips and techniques for continuing my fast. Tip number 2 is not being super conscious if I'm going out to eat of things, like if I'm fasting, I'm obviously not eating, but going out and having food that I haven't prepared and having that break my fast. This morning, for example, and I'm sorry about the light, guys, I've got Duke, my son is sleeping back there, my little 3-year-old sleeping, so I'm trying to get the video in while he's sleeping. Went to go to Starbucks, and I always get no classic in my drink. The baristas all know me because I go every day, although I do live a Thomas Stanley lifestyle. I do get coffee every day from Starbucks, and so they know how I like to have it. But it was a new chick, and she put sugar in my coffee. I drank it, I had a sip, I had another sip, I had a third sip, and was like, this does not taste right. And I knew, boom, I could taste the sugar on my tongue for like 20 minutes after the fact, and I knew it had broken my fast. Like I knew it had spiked the insulin, right? And the whole name of the game of weight loss, per Dr. Fung, the daddy of intermittent fasting, I am a Fungster, is what Dr. Fung talks about is flatlined insulin. So I knew that broke my fast. I knew that having that sugar in there, that spike in the sugar was not, it broke my fast. So I kind of re-switched things around for my fasting planning. That I have a stair stepper, and I'll put that free printable down below, a stair stepper of how you can do with different fasting times. But I know how my fast was broken. So my mistake, my intermittent fasting mistake that I made, even though I still continue to have intermittent fasting weight loss, but my mistake number 2 was when you're going out to get beverages, be mindful of the ingredients, who's preparing it, what they're doing, making sure they know the plan, things like that. Tip number 3 is I used to think I was not able to work out and fast. In fact, I'm going to go work out now while I'm fasting, and workouts are actually better while you're fasting. You have better results with it. Dr. Fung talks about this, about how Olympic athletes, professional athletes are all moving towards, not all, but there's so many good studies done on fasting about how it is good for athletes to do. So I try intentionally to be fasting when I work out. Now, some people, this can cause low blood sugar. Sorry, I'm trying to get the lighting right. It can cause low blood sugar. It can cause where you don't feel super jittery. Like that to my own self be true, and do what you got to do with your fasting. But it really, it's a fallacy to think that it's bad for you to work out while you're fasting. So that is my tip number 3 for intermittent fasting mistakes. My 4th intermittent fasting mistake is how I broke my fast. So through intermittent fasting weight loss, I've done a great job with this since my pregnancy. Some of y'all know I was pregnant 9 months ago. My baby passed during the 2nd trimester, and so I wasn't fasting when I was pregnant, as Dr. Fung doesn't advise that, but I was getting back into it since not being pregnant anymore. And so breaking my fast with, he used to say in his Complete Guide to Fasting book, which, get that book, go to the library to get it if you can't afford to buy it on Amazon. I'll put the link below, but You get it from your library, borrow it from a friend, get the book so you can read the book. It's really, really good. But on page 250, no, it's not page 254. That's a different topic. In the book, sorry, I'm getting a little piece of white and that'll hopefully fix the lighting here. It talks in Dr. Fung's book about when you break a fast, use nuts. It's not doing anything at all. There you go. Break the fast, use nuts, and have nuts 30 minutes prior to eating your meal. That is wrong. Dr. Fung has subsequently come out with that is wrong and it's not good for the digestion tract. It's hard on the digestion tract. Instead, the intermittent fasting mistake solution to the mistake is to have a cup of veggies, a cup of salad, something like that along those lines to help you with your digestion 30 minutes prior to having a meal. That was a mistake I made, is I was using old information and having nuts, and it would cause digestion problems for me. Sorry, the lighting was getting so bad, and I decided just to refilm the end of it because I want to make sure you guys understand about my intermittent fasting mistakes. I know some of y'all have seen my 67-pound weight loss and are like, oh my goodness, she has done it perfectly. No, I certainly have not. So going back to my breaking the fast, you can use that same tactic on 24-hour fast, 48-hour fast. Definitely for longer fasts, you absolutely should. I'm using the air quotes, like you should do what's best for yourself, but I would highly encourage it for longer fasts than that. I personally try to use that tactic for 24-hour fasts and longer because of digestion issues. Do what's best for your body. Find what works best for you is my encouragement to you. Because our bodies are different, and so thy own self be true, do what's best for your particular body. My intermittent fasting mistake number 5 is about autophagy. So there's so much information that we don't know about autophagy, right? Like we know a minimal amount, and I've talked about this before. We don't know a tremendous amount because it doesn't behoove business people, food manufacturers, people related to food manufacturing, to do these studies on fasting, because fasting, you don't consume anything. And so therefore, how do people make money if they're not really interested in making money off of it? That's why you've seen a lot of keto products pop up, like keto coffees, keto pills, keto shakes, these things, because people can make money off of them. That's like their marketing way to make money. With fasting, you really can't do that. So you don't see a tremendous amount of money flowing into studies because of that, because there's not really that much money to be made on intermittent fasting. So we're going to taking that same stream of thought to autophagy, and this is how you spell autophagy. The autophagy is basically self-eating. It's your body eating its own cells and consuming them kind of like a Pac-Man, chomp, 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 chomp. And it's self-eating, and if the body sees, oh, it's a precancerous cells, it's going to eat the junk cells first, and that's the way that the body cleans itself, through eating these cells, these precancerous cells, or that could lead to Alzheimer's or other ailments within our bodies. The autophagy is eating those first, and so the longer that you're kind of doing this autophagy component, the better that it's self-cleaning, self-eating, eating its own cells. So it sounds kind of weird, but it's awesome. Autophagy is awesome, and if you want anti-aging and don't want to have to do Botox so often, it's a great way to do that. So, or loose skin. People ask me a lot on my 100-pound weight loss journey about loose skin. Autophagy is where it's at, and Dr. Fung talks about with his patients, he's never recommended a loose skin procedure for weight loss because of the autophagy component. It helps tighten the skin through intermittent fasting I do also lazy keto. So getting to the mistake part of it, the mistake was having protein during a fasting time. In Dr. Fung's book, The Complete Guide to Fasting, which is in the description link below, on page 254, he does talk about things that you can have that do not break a fast. They may not break a fast, but they do stop or lessen autophagy. And in previous videos, I've talked about having heavy cream, which is protein. Any sort of protein-based will stop autophagy. And so my mistake that I made is I would have way more heavy cream than what I thought. And for my body, again, we don't have that much research to back it up, but I have my own body's kind of testing that I've done. So I would encourage you to test on your own body too. That my autophagy, I could tell, like with the tightening of skin and things like that, it would, I can tell that it was stopping, or it was lessening. And so I've knocked out having heavy cream as best I can. Sometimes I have like a teaspoon of it in my coffee when I'm fasting, because it does not break my fast per Dr. Fung on page 254 of The Complete Guide to Fasting. If you have alternative information, by the way, cite your source. And while we're also on alternative information, don't promote your own YouTube channel down in my comments too. Okay, I get off my soapbox for a minute. But put down below intermittent fasting in the comments and give this video a big old like to stop your autophagy. Not really lessen it, but more so stop it. So if you're putting butter in your coffee, while you can have that and it doesn't break your fast, it is a protein, and therefore it's stopping or majorly lessening your effects of autophagy. And really, we want autophagy. I also sometimes go with the conscious decision, but it's conscious about, do I want to have longer fasting times with lessening the autophagy, or do I want to have shorter fasting times while boosting the autophagy? Now, autophagy really starts after the 16-hour mark, but that's like a minimal amount. So try to bump it up, at least in my personal experience. Again, I'm not medical. This is just my personal experience. Bump it up to a 24-hour fast. The bonus tip I have for you guys is talking about OMAD, 1 meal a day. There's been a big spark in the keto community about doing intermittent fasting, just having 1 meal a day. And Dr. Fung is saying, and some of his research, which I will cite my source down below, that may not be as good as we once thought it was, that OMAD is great for 2 or 3 months, and then the effects start to wear off. So I would caution you, switch up your times, switch up your times, switch up your times. I have a free printable down below on fasting. As I do, I have a free weekly keto meal plan, a free ALDI shopping plan for keto, and a couple of other free resources in the description link below. So if you're loving this video, put down below in the comments intermittent fasting. Also give this video a big old thumbs up, and make sure you sign up for my free weekly keto meal plan and click subscribe with the notification bell. If you want to see more of my intermittent fasting mistakes on a third video in this series, put that in the comments below too. Bye guys.